So check it. Years ago, 2001, 2002, I had just ran across Erick Khafre again. Keep in mind, we was real cool in high school. We had Miss Brown class. She taught computer. But I graduated before him. So I left. About 10 or 12 months later, I seen him again walking on Wheatland Street, and I went and picked him up, took him home, and we kind of rebuilt our bond from there, so to speak. But sometime later after that, we started together listening to Dead Prez, M1 Stickman. Y'all got to know M1 Stickman, Dead Prez in general, had a big influence in the early 2000s as relates to the consciousness, if you will. Dead Prez was very influential. They were probably one of the more influential groups that was out at that particular time. Now, a lot of folks are not as familiar with them, but they were very influential in the early 2000s. M1 Stickman. I said it all to say is that one particular night, y'all know them apartments by Carter High School. Them apartments right next to Carter High School. It's like you're at Carter High School, you walk up the hill a little bit, and there's some apartments right there. Well, that's where Erick's cousins had stayed at that particular time, and his family, the family he had, right? And so I walked up there from Erick's house, where he stayed at on Woodshire. So I walked over there for the most part. And when I walked over there, for some reason, the police at that particular time were just acting real erratic. They were stopping people, pulling people over, trying to ID everybody. Just a bunch of craziness. For no particular reason. At that particular time, keep in mind, I'm just 1 year out of high school, so I really didn't know my rights as like I do now. So just give me some grace. But the police, they stopped me right there at the bottom apartments, detained me, detained another friend of mine too. His name just leaves me now at this particular point. But what was his name? I'm trying to remember his name. But anyway, they detained us. They made us stop or whatever, and they were trying to ID us, and we were just really giving them pushback on trying to ID us or whatnot, and we wasn't really trying to be compliant, but they did manage to detain us a little bit. So they detained us, and all these officers, which I assume was in between 10 or 15 cars, and probably was about 15 to 20 officers, in those cars or whatever. I mean, they were just going through the apartments or whatnot, and just being obnoxious. You know what I'm saying? This is way before the police brutality movement. This is way before anything, for a lot of stuff. Again, this is like 2001. 2001, 2002. Basically. To make a long story short, I got into it with one of the officers, and I let them know that I was gonna get on their ass. You know what I'm saying? I'm really listening to Dead Prez. Dead Prez really done really hype me up. You know what I'm saying? If you know anything about Dead Prez, if you don't know, go check them out. Just Google, YouTube, Dead Prez, the rap group. It's a rap duo. And at that particular time, I was just real into that. You know what I'm saying? So essentially, I let the officer know, hey, I'm gonna be on y'all ass. You feel me? You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna forget this. Because they really kind of pissed me off of how they handled us at that particular situation. Obviously, we didn't break no law. Obviously, we didn't have no warrants out for us. Obviously, we had no convictions or anything of that nature. Any reason for them to stop us other than just wanted to harass us. You know what I'm saying? And I'm going to say this too. It wasn't just no white officers. It was majority black officers. So I'm not just saying this is some white cop versus Negro on the street sort of situation. It was black cop dealing with black folks in the community, which I was. And I let them know that I was going to be on their ass. from that day forward. And from that day forward, From that day forward, that's how I became Yafael Balagoon. From that day forward, that's how I became Yafael Balagoon. Was that really that incident from dealing with the police that night? But I also want to state that in that situation, I was able to jump in my car at that particular time. I got back to my car, and some of them officers were still there. And I raised my right hand to God when I tell you, and Erick can tell you to this day, we caught one of them officers in the community, like on some, I don't know what he or she was on, but we started following them. They made a turn, we made a turn. They made a turn, we made a turn. We followed them for like a mile. And out of nowhere, that officer just took off going 70 miles an hour down the street. And guess what we did? We took off going 70 miles an hour down the street behind them. We chased them all the way to the freeway. And they was really running from us. Now, I don't know what they thought at that particular time, but I just want to say that that's a situation that helped kind of create the person who I became today, because I was just really minding my business with one of my partners from PTP. I don't know why he was over there with me. His name slipped me. You know how it is when 20 years, 25 years, you can barely remember folks' name, but he is a friend on my Facebook. I just, I hadn't really talked to him since then. He probably see me like, boy, this boy Yafe or something else. But anyway, so that whole situation really changed me. You know what I mean? That's how I became Yafael Balagoon. Just that incident dealing with the police, walking down the street, minding my business, being harassed, being detained. All those officers was all over us, checking us, trying to check our pockets and all this type of stuff, and really just detained us. Had to sit on the ground for about 20 minutes for no particular reason, just looking for any old particular reason to try to hold us. They must thought we had weed in our pocket then, because back in them days, everybody looked at weed as oh man, you doing something bad. So we had weed in our pocket. They were just trying to see what we had, but we of course didn't have anything. But like I say, once they let us go, I let them know, hey, I'm gonna be on your ass. So that's kind of how I got made the way I am at this particular point, in addition to my previous experiences beyond that. And then we got in my car at that particular time, and we saw that officer, and we started following him. Me and Erick, we followed him. Like I said, they made some turns. We made some turns right behind him. Out of nowhere, he just floored it, and we floored it right behind him. And me and Erick had a good laugh that night. We talking about how scary that officer was that night. But anyway, I just want to tell you what my experience was. 2001, 2002. That particular night over there by Carter High School, and how we had to deal with those officers, and what was important. Another stage to what my experience was to ultimately what made me the person I am now. So peace, power, prosperity.